It begins on the outside of Adventure City, and they are saying on the radio that everyone is excited about a meteor shower. Then some workers receive a call, and had been tricked to stay in their office, while a woman takes advantage of the moment to steal a vehicle, and that ends up causing everything starts to explode. So they realize that they were in trouble, and contact the Paw Patrol to ask for their help. We go to Ryder, and he is saying that they got a call to stop a fire. Then the Paw Patrol gets in their vehicles, and are on their way to complete the mission, while Skye was using her vehicle to gather some water, and we see that she manages to make the door open. We start to see them use the fire truck to put out the fire, and they manage to get there in time to save the people. Then Rocky comes over to get them out of the office, and they start to tell them that a woman locked them in to take her giant magnet. We go to the woman, and she was using different materials for some kind of machine. While on the news they were talking about the meteor shower, and they say it will be the biggest in the last 50 years. We go to the base, and see that the Paw Patrol were also getting ready to see the meteor shower. Then Ryder says that the pups are growing, and that only Skye was still the same size, but suddenly we see that they had rung the doorbell, and Ryder introduces them to the new Junior Patrol. They are excited to meet their heroes, and want to become part of the team. We go back to the woman, and she was saying that she wants to be known as the best scientist, so she has been researching about meteorites, and that she managed to realize that it has a strange energy, so she made the decision that she was going to use her invention to take over the meteorite. We start to see that she is using her machine to launch a kind of laser, and she manages to make it go towards the Earth. But suddenly we see that their machine starts to fail, and they manage to realize that it was about to crash. So Ryder says that they have to get the people away, and they all start running for cover. Then we see that the meteor was about to fall, and Ryder arrives in time to save Skye. The puppies realize that no one was hurt, and only their base was destroyed, while the meteorite was glowing, and Ryder wants to take it with him to investigate the energy. Later on the news, they say that a scientist was captured because she had confessed that it was all her fault. We go to the jail and see that the scientist was sharing a prison cell with Mayor Humdinger. We go back to the Paw Patrol, and they took the meteorite to analyze its energy. Then they go to their room to go to sleep, and Ryder says goodbye to them so they can rest. But suddenly we see that Skye can't sleep, and she manages to notice that the meteorite was glowing. So she goes on her way to get a closer look, and we see that this causes it to end up shattering. Then we notice some kind of crystals, and that Skye begins to float when she touches them. We begin to see that she is playing with her new powers, and that she realizes that she has new abilities. But suddenly we see that she ends up crashing, and Skye confesses to them that she got superpowers. So they are surprised by the energy of the meteorite, and we see that each member also gets their crystal, which ends up causing them to also get powers, and everyone is happy for their new abilities. These are related to the preferences they have, and only Liberty doesn't get to use it, because only she doesn't have a special characteristic, and she has to discover it to use her powers. They begin to say that they need a new name, and will now be known as the Mighty Pups. We start to see that they are making their new uniforms, and they use the crystals to keep the powers. Then the Paw Patrol get into their vehicles, and they can use their abilities so they become powerful. So Liberty says that she has no powers, and that she'd better stay to take care of the puppies. We begin to see that the Paw Patrol are using their new powers, and solving problems faster, while the scientist was angry because she lost the meteorite, and the mayor proposes to help her escape in exchange for sharing the powers. So she agrees to share the meteorite, and we see that they had planned to escape through the toilet. We return to the base, and Liberty still hasn't awakened the meteorite's powers, so she decides that she will not waste her time, and will train the Junior Patroller to become rescuers. We begin to see that they are training to become stronger, and that they were completing different types of trials, while the villains were escaping through the prison drainage, and we see that they managed to get out through one of the sewers. They then fly away in the mayor's plane, and the scientist decides to destroy the plane to call the Paw Patrol. We return to the base, and Ryder realizes they needed their help. So Skye says she will take care of it, and leaves at high speed to save the people. But suddenly we see that she was being waited for, and they manage to trick her into taking her crystal. Then the villains jump to escape from the plane, and Skye contacts Ryder to ask for his help. We start to see them use the vehicles to create a runway, and she takes the opportunity to land with the plane. So everyone celebrates that they completed the mission, and their friend was safe. We return to the base, and Skye is very sad that she was deceived. Skye begins to say that when she was born, she was the last of her siblings, and that everything was difficult because she was the weakest. So Sky was the only one who was never chosen, and that one day she was saved when she met Ryder, because she made the decision that she had to be strong, and she started following him so he could rescue her. So she feels that she was never chosen, and that she was accepted into the team because she was lonely, while Ryder decides that they will cancel the new patrol program because he was thinking that it is too dangerous, and that they must first find out what the villains are planning. Then Sky apologizes for losing the crystal, and that she has to help them in order to get it back. To which Ryder tells her that she won't participate in the mission because it's too dangerous and she doesn't have his powers anymore. We go to the villains and see that the scientist also gets powers from the crystal's energy. She begins to say that she plans to use her power to improve her invention and obtain meteorites with other types of energy. While at the base, Sky manages to realize where her crystal was and makes the decision to use the other crystals to get it back. We begin to see that she goes at high speed to the villain's base and that she is infiltrating to recover her crystal, where we can see that the scientist was sleeping and that she manages to realize Sky's presence. Then they fly away through the clouds, and we see that again she ends up being defeated. So the scientist takes the opportunity to get the crystals and begins to use them to attract many meteorites. She starts to say that she has always been picked on throughout her life, and that she would never again allow herself to be made fun of, to which Sky tells her that she also knows the feeling, and we see Humdinger use one of the crystals to get new powers, which ends up causing him to turn into a giant, and wants to go to the city to defeat the pups. In the next morning, they manage to realize that her friend wasn't there, and that she took the crystals when she left the base. Then the Paw Patrol start on their way to save their friend, and manage to realize that they were being waited by the giant mayor. We start to see that they are running away so he can't step on them, and they end up being surrounded in a dead end. But suddenly, we see the new pups arrive, and they are working as a team to defeat the giant. So Marshall takes the opportunity to use his vehicle, and manages to get close enough to remove his crystal, which ends up causing him to regain his powers, and they manage to defeat him so he goes back to jail. While the villain continued with her plans, and Sky feels sad because it was all her fault. But suddenly we see that the pups arrive to distract the villain, and the others take the opportunity to infiltrate with Zuma's powers. Then he meets with Sky to get her power back, and the villain realizes she had been tricked. We begin to see that they are preparing to fight the scientist, and that they share the crystal to use the powers, with which they manage to make them have the advantage, but end up defeating them when they lost the crystal. So Liberty decides that she has to sacrifice herself to save her friend, and that ends up causing her to get her powers. Then they get ready to continue the fight, and Zuma manages to defeat her with his water powers, so they take the opportunity to regain their powers and work as a team to destroy the machine. The team realize that the meteorites are coming, and Ryder tells Sky that she has to destroy them, because she is the reason he always says that no pup is too small. We start to see her going at high speed to destroy the meteors, and she was destroying them with gunfire from her vehicle, but suddenly we see that she ends up getting hit, and starts destroying them with only her strength. While the pups were evacuating the city, and they managed to realize that they were not going to be saved. So Sky decides that she has to try, and starts to remember that she has always been fighting throughout her life, which ends up causing her to be filled with motivation, and she ends up sacrificing herself to save people. But suddenly we see that the crystals shine again, and she goes to the surface to reunite with her friends. So everybody was celebrating that they were able to be saved, and they end up recognizing them as the heroes of the city. We go to the base, and the mighty pups say that they are the guardians of the world, and they use the powers to always